Don't mash me. We are underway with our 6th game of the day, and we are about to be on the Rift.
Yeah.
We do have this matchup going in. Zion Spartan on that Tryndamere, Nintendo Dex on Xin, Jinte on Lux, Mash Me on Corki, and Bloodwater is representing Lulu this game. On the other side, we have Dyrus repping Rumble up top. Doesn't look like we'll get a lane swap in here. Odd one on Jarvan in the jungle, feeling very comfortable on that pick. Reginald on his Orianna. Chaos favored it on the MF, and Xpecial bringing out Leona for this game.
And the Jarvan jungle for the Odd One is definitely something he's kind of always played for a while, but he's never really mained. So I don't know if he's 100% comfortable on this. It's not, unless he really plays it like full tank, a supporty style jungle for him. It's more of a heavy ganker who wants to run away and get a lot of farm. So we'll see if TSM defers a bit more farm to the Odd One or if he just gets it through ganks.
Not too many wards as well. Again, just those one near Wraith ward we were pointing out before. And the top ward to initiate that late blue buff invade. The lane swap does eventually come out, I should say. It looks like they're going to put that against Zion Spartan, so this will be the first time we see the Tryndamere in a 2v1.
And round 7 of the tower dives early on in the game. And we actually haven't seen any tower dives this game because all the 2v1 lanes have resulted in those solo laner just giving it away. It's almost kind of like we went through a bit of an evolution, right? Like, teams realized it was coming, so they started sending the jungler down there. But then the junglers would get killed, so they stopped sending the jungler down there and just gave up the turrets.
Looks like they're moving down. They will get some good help here, probably for the smiteless for the Odd One. We'll have to see if he goes for anything aggressive on the red buff if they know Xin is at his blue. They do get the ward down, so they the ping down on the ward, I should say, just above that mid, so they know that it's there. Nintendo Dex is going to grab this up. He's not going to need a smite on that one, so both junglers get around smiteless. We'll have to see if that's used.
It's just going to be about speeding them up to get to that 356 landmark for a turret kill, really, because they got... This means that both of them can skip the Wraiths to get straight onto the red buff and get it a little bit sooner. Also, there is an approach ward for GGU up top if Odd One wants to go in, but there is not one for Dyrus, as far as I can tell.
So
no,
regular smite. Yep.
They'd be able to see.
Smiting out on the red, so we're not going to see anything crazy coming from the junglers here. As you see Other One just kind of watching out and looking at his team. So the red buff's about to be grabbed. We do have the swap lane, but like we said, we haven't seen that 2v1 gank coming in. Everybody's been warding behind themselves, or the turret has just been destroyed way too early for it to happen.
I think we're going to see one of those again, as we have a slight other technical issue, and then we're just going to have to go through the rest of the game, right? But TSM is this is their 2nd game of Super Week, right? Because they had the Xerath and Malphite one. And this is also GGU's 2nd game as well.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, sir. Indeed, we can see him getting this all set up. It looks like they're actually almost ready to get back in this one. And they say they are ready. So just a quick fix there. Back into the adjusted features. And they are ready to go. Still nothing has happened in this matchup. A few pauses has delayed us a little bit, but we're back live. Now look at the buys here. It's going to be the Fairy Charm. Looks like somebody's always gone for a Fairy Charm and then the other in the Flask in mid, depending on who it's been.
And there is a switch up, finally. Nintendo Dex took his red buff and is not going for the lane. So they may try to defend with AP Tryndamere. AP Tryndamere does have the red elixir, so he is increasingly harder to dive, but there will be so much armor coming through from TSM if they decide to go for this.
He did just get that level 2 in. It looks like he grabbed up Spinning Slash as well to make this an easier engage or disengage for himself. The Odd One comes around on those wards we just called being placed. Looks like they are going to dance this one out. TSM did this on that 3rd week, and they are going to go on it. This is that dive they've been so sure about. The initiations go out. They let the damage just sink in right now onto Nintendo. They get first blood. They find one for themselves. Can they continue to turn this around? Zion Spartan, does he have it up? They get a great Zenith Blade over the wall. A double kill for Chaos for the one of Odd One.
And double buffs as well. So that was almost as good as you're going to get for GGU on the defense department. They made TSM eat as many turret shots as possible, but they went for the double buffs first to make sure Chaos had them, and then they ran down, or they went for the double buffs first just to make sure they would get them. And then Zion Spartan, instead of sitting in the turret and just eating the one kill, decided to keep chasing. So a win for TSM. They're going to get turret damage, but mainly they got the double kill for Chaos.
This is going to be great as this one goes down. It's a little bit after 4 minutes, so they're slacking, but they are going to be able to grab it, chat.
Yeah, so 4:26.
Oh, they leave it?
was when they wanted to get the turret, but I mean, even if they don't take the turret,
they have a great advantage.
They might want to continue to dive because the Ignite and the Ghost is down on Zion Spartan, and Nintendo Dex knows he has to be up here for the defense. He's walking through a ward, and at the very least is going to stop them from tower diving, I think, but it's still pressure from TSM.
That is a level 2 W coming from Reginald right now. He is just wreaking havoc with that damage. Looks like he's going to try. Actually, he leveled up his Q first, so that was a level 1 dissonance. Very scary coming in for Jinte in mid. We see more pressure up top. Nintendo Dex forced to come back into the top lane, just to guard.
Yeah, and their TSM is pinging down hard on this one. The odd one wants to come around. The TSM knows they've already lost their own turret, so they want to get the GGU turret as fast as possible, and Nintendo Dex cannot defend this. There is no way he's going to.
They're actually looking for the kill more than they want the turret right now. If they could get that second advantage on him backing or running away, they were about to take it, but they find the turret and they're happy with that. 8.3 thousand gold. It's 1,000 gold ahead of GGU right now.
So much of that is just on the double kill and the fact that they denied Zion Spartan so much of that farm. They've kept that AP Tryndamere to 5 minion kills right now. So the early plan of just dealing with the AP Trynd is there so far.
Yeah, crush it down and don't let him do anything. Don't let him breathe at all. The stranglehold tactic seems to be working so far for TSM, but we'll see if Zion Spartan can bring it back into play for his team. Crushing down on this bottom lane as well. Mash Me shredding through the minions as Dyrus tries to put... Ooh, thought it could have been a small initiation there if they were able to get that speed onto Dyrus, but they did not choose to go for it. And Jinte's looking pretty dry here in mid on mana, so he's got to be careful.
And this lane has been pretty trade heavy so far, right? Like the minion kills are a little low, which tells me that Reginald and Jinte have been sparring a lot in mid lane. They've been foregoing CS to land a little bit of harass on each other, but it's pretty much dead even. Yeah,
you'll see who are farming if you look at the CSs, where pretty much everybody should be at the 50 and 55, so aggression in almost every lane coming in, and those 2v1 lanes are definitely taking a toll. 14 for Zion Spartan to the 31 of Dyrus.
But the odd one, because he spent so much time in lanes, he's soaked up a lot of experience and now is just bullying Nintendo in the turret, trying to get that turret damage. And this is what the victorious teams have done so far today. It's the extended pressure. They're living at the enemy turrets and daring the other team to fight them.
Wow, Reginald is really going for utility here, just maxing out that ball movement on the Q before anything else instead of that W damage.
It's one of the choices on Orianna. Like, I've seen it done both ways. They'll either get the Q or the W.
Right.
It's just a different play style. This is a little more high pressure for Reginald. He'll get to reposition and keep Jinte on his toes a little bit more, but his actual like QW burst harass is much, much lower.
Looks like he's going to go get himself a blue buff right now, but over and over again, if you can continue to do that, doesn't matter how much damage you're doing, you're still going to get it put out, and that's what he's going to get with that blue buff. So that should be up around 13, 14 minutes for him next time. See, there's no control being put on GGU's buff. A good amount of burst damage there. It's not really going to push him out of lane.
Jinte trying to keep the wave pushed back, but Reginald with the blue buff can do the same himself. And Zion Spartan finally going to be able to get about 10 minion kills, right? But because they've done the lane swap, as soon as TSM sees Zion Spartan has went bottom, they jump on the dragon.
They also don't have to worry about Jinte's ulti, as he has just used it and he heads over towards blue. So this one's pretty free for them with no contest. 8 minutes in, that dragon goes down. 14 minutes for a dragon there. Looks like Reginald could get enough damage on this turret to make an impact here in the next few minutes if he wants to prep it.
So now Zion Spartan in danger of getting dove again, but he's level 6 this time, so if TSM wants to do something, it's press the turret down, because killing Tryndamere at level 6 is much more difficult than it was before.
Well, it's going to be a lane for a lane here if it happens. That top is getting pretty aggressed on. Zion Spartan's doing what he can to hold this one. It looks like he's actually holding the 3 off in that top lane. There's the ultimate in middle, actually. Nice job just pulling in Jinte and Nintendo to get out safely.
I don't even think Reginald took damage for that. Like, there were 2 people mid, and he basically just 2v1'd them away from himself. That's really dominating play by his Orianna in mid lane. It might be why it was banned in the first game of the day.
Looks like this turret may finally go down. Mashmi has 1 more minion left there, but it looks like they are going to keep this up and keep the harass on Dyrus. Seems like it's a bit of a change from what we've had in the past games. Now that the advantage is there, they're keeping the lanes up.
And once all the turrets kind of fall for both these teams as they're trading them back and forth, is when the team fights are artificially forced for the next thing that's going to happen, which actually gives TSM a fairly large advantage since they have a 2,000 gold lead, or will if they're able to finish off this bottom turret by GGU. and that's good for TSM.
So as we look around, the BF sword's actually quite quickly grabbed up here by both of the AD carries, but with that extra gold that KX has been able to accrue through the double kill, he puts it right into the scepter right off the bat.
So that's the difference we've kind of seen, because Cop was just playing in a very similar strategy the other day, and he was going for straight AD, but this time you get the Vamp Scepter.
Dyrus taking that damage from the top lane, but he's still trying to hold it off here, overheating himself to stay safe. They get the mocking shout down. They go on special. They have like a double initiation going down here. Both of these guys can't help each other. They somewhat turn it around. Special doesn't drop to the ignite, so he draws the attention of Spartan. Can they turn this around? He's getting a bit of fury here. The ultimate's still there to be used. There's no mana coming in for Chaos, and the last hit goes down. Will the ignite be enough? He's trying to get more back from the Q, and he does live.
So the aggression from GGU kicking back a little bit, right? They were daring them to fight the whole game. Finally, Nintendo Dex and Zion Spartan were able to turn it around a little bit. Chaos went all in trying to flash for that red buff, thought it would be enough, but he forgot about the threat of the double daggers and the boots on Tryndamere, giving him a double kill.
Pushing mid lane, GGU looking to take an advantage here, and this is something they haven't been able to do, especially this early in a game, is when they win a fight like that, they've been forced to back and use whatever money they got. But now they're able to start pushing their advantages. This turret may go down here. It'll definitely be a big global map lead, at least in vision.
Oh,
Looks
man.
like they're going to be stopped just short of taking the turret down one after the other of crowd control. Jinte may find himself going down. He gets a great light binding, but there's just too much burn. The last hit from the odd one picks himself up a kill, and Dyrus finds an equalizer ultimate kill.
The equalizer is a much longer range spell than most people realize. It's like a pseudo global. You can put it from so far away. That's why he was able to come in at the end and pick off Jinte. That was GGU trying to make a playoff of something that wasn't quite there. They did this against COG as well. They made a great play and immediately followed it up with a mistake off their overwhelming confidence.
You see 5-3 as the middle turret gets pressured here. GGU had pressure on the mid turret. They weren't able to grab it, and that turns into them losing a fight and that turret. You see it 15,000 gold, 16,000 gold. They're about 2.5K behind right now.
And really shortly, Chaos is going to be able to get that bottom turret as well, because they were so close to getting that when GGU made their first good play, and that was going to be the thing that they could kind of protect. Is they're saying, we're going to live on this bottom turret, we're going to take our 2-to-1 turret advantage, and we're going to keep the gold even. But because they pushed up mid trying to get the turret, they actually ended up sacrificing 2 turrets of their own, didn't even get their own turret, and they had back 2 kills. And now Nintendo is trying to hold this turret, but I don't think he's in position to, because here comes a 3-man dive.
And Nintendo forced to use his ultimate to kind of break everything out there. They keep going in on this initiation. And it looks like they are going to start to focus on Zion Spartan. He draws them away from the fight, so they've kept Nintendo alive here, and they may have kept both themselves alive.
That was a fantastic escape by Nintendo Dex. Audacious charging to the creeps so that he didn't put the Intimidate passive on anybody, knocked Chaos back with the ultimate, and then juked completely X Special's Solar Flare. So awesome job by him to escape. They still lost the turret, and they're still behind in the game, but we just had to highlight that awesomeness.
Awesomeness indeed. Seeing Dyrus' build as he goes back. He picks up 2 wards for himself, so he doesn't have the gold yet to bring in the pink wards. He does build the Haunting Guys, and it looks like Asher's actually coming in somewhat already for, Tryndamere. Get that first core item for himself. Chaos taking some good damage from the Lux passive there. They choose to continue going in onto this one. It looks like he's going to go down quite quickly. Will they focus more? But no, GGU Jazz finding those little advantages they need.
And here's the problem, though, with GGU. The Tryndamere strat uses Tryndamere to split push, right? But the other 4 need to be resilient to tower dives from TSM. The fact that Zion Spartan has all of the kills, therefore the majority of GGU's gold distribution, means the other 4 people that need to survive against a potential 5-man rush by TSM down an inhibitor is just even weaker. They're even less likely to be able to withstand that assault.
Might not be a problem if he was an AD Tryndamere as much.
Well, I don't think AD Tryndamere is very good, is the problem.
At least some more damage that they would be looking for. We see the gold here stacking up, 4,300 to 5,700 on the 80 carries Mashmi quite behind there. The Zeal and the Bloodthirster finished over on the side of Chaos, and he actually puts in the sword as well, the long sword for the next buy. He comes into his last Whisper. The Infinity Edge trying to be finished off on Corki here, so he's looking to get that burst damage, but he's spending a bit more.
And the cooldown reduction is there for Zion Spartan now. Just like every AP Tryndamere, he's got the cooldown boots and the Nashor's too, so he's at 39% as TSM takes yet another Dragon.
GGU is keeping their mentality in this game, knowing they need to keep wards in their inventories. They're doing that as a team, so they're not losing out there. They're remembering the small things. That's going to help you stave off the pressure that TSM is applying right now. A lot of wards from TSM. You can see two almost right in the same area right there, but really giving vision to multiple entries into that jungle and just a better advantage if a fight were ever to happen. See, they do have the Locket of the Iron Solari on both sides. They're fight ready there. The Infinity Edge finished on Corki now to the Bloodthirster. Both of the supports have their pink wards. These guys are ready to go head-to-head in that next mistake.
Yeah, and the Ruby Sightstone coming out on both supports is something we've actually seen every game in the last 2 weeks.
Simply
During
every
that
game.
infographic, it was 16 of 16 supports in both North America and Europe built the Ruby Sightstone. So if you're at home and you're a support and be like, yeah, I think I should build the Ruby Sightstone.
Or if you were ever considering.
Yeah, it's like, I wonder if I should get that Ruby Sightstone. Yeah, I think you should at some point.
Seems like a very just bare game for these mids. You look at their inventories and it's like they were kind of at Fountain for the first few minutes. You see an Athene in both and regular Boots one to both as well. They haven't been getting too much action. We have some assists for Reginald because he got himself into a few fights, but not too much overall.
And amongst all that, Reginald is able to pull ahead a little bit, right? Because he's got the 30 minion kills, so he has been applying pressure. That is somewhat due to the other pressure that's existed on the map and the fact that Nintendo X hasn't really been able to assist in that lane for Reginald, and he has been using the auto attack harass from Orianna to really create off of that. But now we're into the game, really. The turrets are dead, 3 on each side. The gold is still kind of close, so this is where the team fights start getting forced around. AP Trendemir is on the loose, and Dyrus has to deal with them.
Bloodwater just took a few shots from Chaos, and he did not like the end result there. Half of his health as he sits in a bush. He's like, you guys can sit in that one. I'm going to sit back here for a second. You can see caution from both teams. The ball being used for vision, and GGU really holding their antsiness down. Zion Spartan in his top, so no teleports actually. I think it's the first game where we don't see teleports for any of the lanes. The Equalizer going out in the bottom lane, and the Undying Rage coming out here. Dyrus definitely has the upper hand on this fight, and it's going to go to this top lane. If Dyrus can pick up that kill, it'll stave it off, but he will not be able to there. They are able to get one as they force down onto Nintendude. It's going to be big for them in this one. He pushes him back, gets a good final spark, but it doesn't hit with the passive on. Bloodwater goes down 2. Reginald picks up 2 for himself, and they are going to push that one off.
Nice job by TSM on both sides of the map. Dyrus pressing back Zion Spartan. The fact that he almost killed him was a huge bonus because you generally just need to hold off AP Trendemir. And then the other 4 members of GGU, since Zion Spartan on AP Trendemir had all of the kills, was not even close to strong enough to being able to handle TSM in a 4v4. TSM realized that, jumped in for the initiation, came away with an easy 2-0.
Checking special right now. He did not. But Oddone did just pick up that Oracle, so they're looking to really control the map right now. Probably pressure out the Baron objective. Not necessarily do it, but force GGU into a position they really don't want to be in.
And they're going to be able to continue to force GGU into some bad positions. Turrets being 3-3 means that if GG wants to make plays, they have to be in unsafe places, and the initiation potential, when you combine Leona with Jarvan, is extremely high. If TSM can find a way to get their minions to turrets, which is rather difficult against Lux, Lulu, and AP Trendemir, they'll be able to do something.
Really good pickup on the Philo Stone coming in for Bloodwater here. He's actually only 200 gold behind a 0-1 and 6 X special. So a great pickup, realizing that lane was going to be a bit behind. He's only 0-2 and 1, and he's still keeping himself in this one. But they aren't on their way to the Aegis yet, and that could be very big for Team Solo Mid when it gets completed.
If they can get to the Aegis first, that will be monstrous, especially considering, especially if they get to a Runic Bulwark. Seriously, because Runic Bulwark gives the magic resist aura to minions as well. A lot of people don't realize the Aegis and Bulwark give the aura to minions. It would make their sieging and pushing easier because the magic damage wouldn't take out, I don't think, the entire wave at that point.
Right. You look around at some of the other builds. Zion Spartan's kind of fallen off here. He's had that Nashor's for quite some time, and really he's only upgraded to the boots. And there was a pot in that tome spot last time, so he's really just kind of inching his build together here. And
speaking of builds, Kax did this last game too. He doesn't build boots on Misfortune. He builds a Zephyr instead. So that's why he has the Stinger. He's going for a Zephyr in that build. He's not going to be building the boots. That's something we have not seen from many people.
No. Wow, how do you feel safe with that? And they don't even have a Sona for movement speed boost. Yeah, you get your strut,
Yeah.
But you hit, you're done.
And the Zephyr does give the move speed. He
Right.
just wants to survive long enough to make it to that point. And he did it in their last game, and he's going for it again.
Risk reward.
He's got a bit of fear here.
Risk and reward. Boom, going out. They put the speed down right away, which may have been a mistake, but they're there with the burst damage right off the bat. They take him out. A bit of gold coming in there.
Just kind of randomly waiting in brushes and being like, yeah, I don't think they saw us come in here. They had the pink ward in the tri-brush, so since TSM didn't have a ward in the tri-brush, almost no one wards the brush by the double golems. They safely camped in that spot and predicted KX would be split pushing, so that was a really good play by GGU.
So we said that Team Solo Mid's going to do things that control the game, but with the pressure GGU's putting on here, they haven't been able to really break out of their own jungle.
No, because the lanes are staying pushed. Don't Mash Me in Bloodwater, because of the just random brush camping, kept KX back. Zion Spartan is going in for Dyrus.
Yeah, he is going to go hard. Doesn't throw it on the ulti just yet. Still holding it off to just the last point. There's the ulti. Gets the kill. Now he doesn't have the ulti. He stayed alive that whole... He does. Wait, yes. All right, I'm confused.
He didn't use it. He thought he could get away without using his ultimate, but the last tick of Ignite finished him off, and he was just like, oops, because that would have been a huge pressure advantage for them after that one. And now TSM might take a Dragon because they're so much stronger 2v4. If Zion Spartan was alive, this could be a GGU Dragon.
Completely different it would be, Jat. They're going to go ahead and grab this guy up. At least he has his ultimate for the next fight, but he did use the Ghost and Ignite on that one, so his split push not going to be as effective, and they may just try to take him down right away. Mash Me, get the wards in. They're a little late there on the bottom side. Still, the Oracle's now not doing as much as I thought it would for Team Solo Mid. They're kind of doing a great job at holding Odd One to just clearing his own jungle.
Yeah, they really wanted to make that Oracles make plays for them, but just because of the lane presence by GGU, that wasn't necessarily the case. And with Zion Spartan having 40% CDR on Tryndamere, burning that ultimate wouldn't have been an issue, right? It's a 60-second cooldown with his 40% CDR, so he's going to want to make that play better in the future as he goes for that Lich Bane.
Not one of the first games, but one of the very few games we see that nobody's really going full tank here. The junglers are kind of taking a tanky role, and then your tops are building more for damage and really team utility.
Dyrus wants to be able to threaten Zion Spartan at least a little bit. So because of the heal sustain that Tryndamere is going to be able to do, Dyrus needs to make sure to get a build that can burst him like in one cycle. I'm a little surprised, even just because it doesn't fit Dyrus's build, but if he were to get a Morellonomicon, either him or Reginald at some point, just to reduce the healing when he does go all in on Zion Spartan, if that could maybe be his next item, it's probably what he needs if he wants even a chance of dealing with him 1v1.
We got a good push for Mash Me up top. He's got quite the minion wave to go at as we see Zion Spartan trying to get himself through the jungle, actually in quite a risky spot. Wards in the jungle are going to alert them that he is there. He knows they have wards, so you see how cautious he's playing now. That he was seen just milling about the jungle. Everybody's clearing out these waves, chat. It's all about that mistake. Everybody is just waiting for it.
This reminds me a little bit of GGU's victory over Vulcan, their only victory this season, when they had that crazy poke comp. Not because of the compositions, but literally, I think this was a gold total in that game at some point. Vulcan had about a 4,000 gold lead. GGU was down 3 to 4 turrets, and they just sat in here for a while. They got into a split push rhythm where they could keep the farm equal for a really long time. Vulcan got antsy, and Vulcan initiated and then ended up losing the game. So GGU is trying to force TSM into a similar moment of antsiness, and they're hoping TSM gets forced into a mistake.
Well, they've done a great job at keeping all the lanes past River. I think this is the first time KX is actually going to be able to help push this top lane in the other direction, as Zion Spartan just stays in that bottom lane. Very interesting that they're not choosing to push the top lane with Baron being up, but they again keep Dyrus out, and effectively I think a Dyrus ultimate in this fight is going to be a lot bigger than a Zion Spartan. So this is really a huge play for them.
A Dyrus ultimate is much better than a Zion Spartan in the lane, but what GG wants to be able to do is get Dyrus to use a teamfight ultimate, and that gets Zion Spartan a turret. I think that's the whole play. And finally, TSM's had enough of it. They're controlling around Baron, and they want to try to make a play here because they know they're stronger 4v4.
The pings are there. If Dyrus can get vision of Zion backing in that bottom lane, they know he's going to start heading towards the top, so Dyrus may do so himself. Try to scrap shield his way up there. The wards are being all placed down. Odd One still sporting that Oracles. They know that Lulu is close, which means the rest of the team is close. So it looks like to be the dance, Jap.
Baron Boogie. Snake Shuffle.
Snake
So much-
shuffle.
So much will go on here, but there's a Reginald ultimate on the blue.
That was a very nice ulti. Doing a bit of damage, but where's the initiation off of this one? He flashes the final spark damage. They're kind of walking out of a lot of abilities here. The reinitiation somewhat misses as well, but a huge on it here by Odwin and Dyrus. Both ultimates just overlapping. It looks like they're going to start cleaning up this fight. Bloodwater does make it out with a sliver. It's the harpoons on and Nintendude. They try to go on to Don't Mash Me as well. The flashes are coming out. One last shot from Chaos. Picks up Nintendude X, and they look to back out, losing nobody.
And Zion Spartan bailed out of that fight as soon as he popped his ultimate. If he would have stuck around, he might have been able to come and get some cleanup on X Special or Chaos, but the threat is gone. He essentially went bottom lane to heal. Maybe he can make it back up to stop this Baron because he really has to, otherwise TSM will get complete control of this game.
TSM is super low. Mashme has the burst damage to get through some of these health bars. If they can get there in enough time, they're not really crushing this Baron just yet. The health is low. Zion Spartan is going to go in. Can he get enough damage out here? They're going to make him focus him, but they all walked away from the Baron, so he took the damage as well. He didn't have his ult that time either.
And if GGU wanted to harass that Baron, they needed to communicate better and go in together, because Don't Mash Me and Bloodwater were kind of there. It's just Zion Spartan went early. Don't Mash Me and Bloodwater weren't able to arrive at the same time, and people on TSM were low enough that if they spent the time to focus Zion, Mash Me and Bloodwater could have gotten in a few good shots, but miscommunication, poor execution by GGU, crisp execution by TSM. They took that out. They had the communication at Baron. They got the smite down. Now they got a big lead.
6,500 gold for Team Solo mid right now. 11-6 in the kills, and the turrets are still stale at 3 aside. We'll have to see what these guys do as we reach 26 minutes into the game here. It looks like TSM has found a good amount of ground with that last push. GGU was definitely climbing their way back into this one. We had quite an even game right up until that. It's all going to really be dictated by this next fight. That Baron is out, so it could be the TSM to just do it under the turret.
And I like how Chaos has a bunch of swords that face in the same direction. I think it's a synergistic build for him. I do like the Zephyr build to point it out once again, but the synergy of the pointing to the right is good.
This is absolutely amazing. He is sporting 5 right pointing swords.
He needs to get a vamp set. He needs to get an Avarice Blade.
There you go.
Yeah.
6 right pointing swords.
Yeah, silly giant spell.
Look at how much right pointing damage they're doing to Dragon. They take it down. 27 minutes on that one, so we'll see him coming up at 33 minutes. We'll see if they even want it at that point. It's going to be all about the Baron once again as we get to that 33-minute mark. With the push they have going now with that gold, they have to know they're somewhat in the lead, so it just takes one good engagement.
And TSM is not afraid to do that good engagement. This is kind of the moment they've been waiting for. They do have the Baron buff. They know that Zion Spartan is not with the team, and they're much stronger than the other 4 for Good Game University, but they've still sent Dyrus to split push, so they are playing this one safe. And then Chaos goes back to farming well, so they're just content keeping this one slow.
Just going to leave them push the lane. They have 2 wards going up, so they still have the vision. Back to super cautious play. 45,000 gold to 37,000 as we just talked about that deficit. The best way for them to come back here is global pressure, but they cannot get off their side of the jungle. TSM's now flipped it back onto GGU. They're starting to get wards past the river and into GGU's jungle. And you can see how much more, you know, not cautious they're playing. Couldn't find the word.
Aggressive?
Thank you.
Reckless?
Reckless.
Reckless.
Reckles.
He doesn't play.
No.
He's too young.
Everybody wants him to. 28 minutes, Jat. A slow one for GGU here. Where would it be a comeback for them?
The comeback comes from TSM letting their Baron buff go out, and Zion Spartan either killing Dyrus or getting some pressure on the other lanes, with now his death cap being completed on Tryndamere. But that's really tall task because TSM initiates very well, and this is their window. They have 5 people with Baron. They're willing to tank up this turret without minions because they're so strong right now.
Crush that one down. We can see Mashme's missiles just coming off from the side, really not
They should
doing
keep going.
anything. He can command Shockwave. He doesn't even get a chance to breathe in the fight. It's going to be a forced back for Zion Spartan here unless they're just going to go all out base for base. But I don't think he's going to have much of a chance. Zion Spartan actually does stay. They lose the inhibitor turret here. They're going to try to get just the gold out of this for the next fight. They know it's not going to be game, so they're getting what they can.
TSM might try to end the game here. They're still pushing up,
Oh,
and they know
wow.
Zion's not there. So it's 3v5 with Baron.
They're going so strong. Takes 8 seconds to back, 20 seconds on the clock for Mashme. The first turret goes down in a second. The second turret goes down in a few more seconds. There's the ultimate from Dyrus, stopping anybody who's trying to reinitiate in off the fountain. They're hitting down the Nexus. Team Solo Mid likes to take out GGU here in this matchup.
29 minutes and 30 seconds, and they just snapped their fingers and went for it.